Donald Trump is speaking out. Trump vows to keep men out of women's sports following Karini's forfeit in Olympics boxing match. Karini says, I've never felt a punch like this. Donald Trump just truthed, I will keep men out of women's sports. Wow, man. This gender ideology stuff made it to the Olympics, the international stage. We've been warning about this. It happened several years ago because Tokyo Olympics allowed it too.
Laurel Hubbard.
What was that one about?
Laurel Hubbard was the New Zealand weightlifter.
Oh, right, the weightlifter. Yeah.
Who then, like, his arms, like, snapped backwards. And everyone was like, see, he didn't win, so it doesn't matter. It's still equitable. But the fact of the matter is that he took the opportunities from the young women who could have competed.
But in that case, too, that person was openly trans, like born for sure. Everyone agreed male trans. Whereas, like, again, trans. I feel like this situation seems weirdly ambiguous. Why wouldn't we just say trans or not, you know?
Well, but if they're not trans and they're just men, they should also not be in women's sports.
I think it's even worse if they're just full-blown men because they have higher levels of people that are trans.
Yeah.
When it comes to DHT, you know,
well,
testosterone,
this is why I thought that, like, again, if we go back to the South African sprinter, like, intersex people they're very rare, but they compete at the Olympic level and they had, you know, requirements to lower their testosterone level. Like, I feel like this is such a weird situation where, like, has the standards for boxing changed where they're no longer required to take these hormone shots or birth control, you know. It's such a weird situation to me where all of this has become conflated, where one to me is like a serious medical complication. If you're born with XX chromosomes, if you have, you know, testes in your body as well as other genitalia, or like if you know that you are biologically male and you decide, well, I'm going to join the women's league. I've decided that's a better fit for me. I mean, they're similar, but they are not interchangeable to me. And again, like either one is serious, right? We should have serious rules about them. But instead, it's all like, what can we do to accommodate people who identify as trans? And that's what's frustrating because they're not the same thing. I don't know.
No, it should be 100% illegal through and through. I like that Trump said something about it. I mean, you should literally be charging this man for beating up a woman, in my opinion. This is insane.
I disagree. I disagree.
She stepped into the ring.
Well, If a woman says, I'd like to enter like a baseball game with a man, are we going to be like, no, that's not allowed. Women aren't allowed to play baseball with men. But what if the guy pitches so fast and so hard and it hits her and it breaks her arm and she gets hurt? Of course, there's a difference in combat sports. But I'm more libertarian as long as people are informed and they know exactly what they're up against and they choose to enter that ring. I'm not a conservative. I'm not going to sit here and be like, we don't allow this. I'm going to be like, people can choose to live the lives they want to live within certain boundaries. And if an individual is in sports and they want to choose to fight, because imagine there's like a female who is just one of the best, and wants to go up against a male to see if they can actually hang, but they're actually a really strong, capable female. That's their choice. Now, the issue at hand is female sports, the athletes don't have a say. The governing bodies are doing this to them, and many of them are complaining about it, and they have no choice. So, for instance, with Riley Gaines, I guess she said that she tied with William Thomas or whatever, and they said, well, we're going to put him up on the podium instead of you for political reasons. See, that's a problem. Telling women they have no say in the matter in their own leagues and their own sporting events is wrong. But and so that's the problem here. This is why I'm critical of Karini. So someone super chatted that she's being sarcastic. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't translate, and I don't know if she was being sarcastic, saying I wish her the best to make it all the way to the end, and that she's happy. Maybe she was like, I hope she makes it to the end. I hope she's happy. Could have been. I don't know. I don't know why she'd say I hope she makes it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want that?
So I will criticize the IOC, the Olympics, the league. I will agree with Donald Trump. I don't know exactly what Trump will do. What will Trump do?
Well, look what Biden did.
Title IX
all
enforcements?
All he has to do is reverse everything that Biden did, because nothing Biden did went through Congress. Everything he did was by an executive order. And he signed all these executive orders on the same day as he reversed all of Trump's executive orders. So all Trump would have to do, would be to sign an executive order saying, that's it, get rid of everything you did under the LGBTQIA plus gender inclusion thing for federal agencies. Because what happened was Biden signed the executive order requiring all federal agencies to have extra inclusion for, the whole alphabet soup. And every federal agency had, I think, 180 days to come back with their plan for what they would do. And the Department of Education said, okay, we're going to revise Title IX so that every time it says sex in Title IX, what they mean is gender identity, and that's per the Bostock ruling, right? Which even in the Bostock ruling, which said that you couldn't discriminate against trans persons in employment because that's discrimination on the basis of sex. The whoever wrote the opinion, I think it was Gorsuch wrote the opinion, said this is not meant to be a catch-all for everything such as bathrooms, locker rooms, and Title IX, So all the federal agencies under Biden interpreted Bostock to mean it was a catch-all and inclusive of everything. So DOE revised Title IX so that men could be in women's locker rooms, and they're still working on having men required to be in women's sports. The Department of Agriculture said no free school lunches for school districts that don't let boys into girls' bathrooms. HHS said, okay, we're going to force all the insurance companies to cover trans medicine and surgeries for everybody, including minors. So every federal agency came back to Biden with how they're going to force LGBTQ gender ideology into every facet of American life. And it was all because of an executive order. So all Trump would have to do is reverse it.
It's already illegal. Title IX. Mm-hmm. Civil Rights Act already made all this stuff. All the DEI stuff is illegal.
Totally illegal.
And this is what's fascinating, and that's why I say culture matters so much more. So I hope everybody understands when I say winning a culture war matters more than winning politics. It's already illegal. You cannot have segregated spaces. We saw in Seattle, they did the DEI space for POC and non-POC or whatever. Illegal. Mm-hmm. How come there's no enforcement? Because the right doesn't have the cultural authority to do anything about it. It's the racists, the Democrats, who have the cultural authority, and police won't enforce this. Lawsuits won't happen. Trump doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to get in and then say, we are going to enforce at the federal level these Title IX. Have an attorney general file lawsuits against any one of these organizations that allows this.
Yeah, every single one. And there already are injunctions against the implementation of the new Title IX rules in a whole bunch of districts because there's a case pending. And so in the states where people who have taken that case there's an injunction against it, and it can't go forward.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned culture being more important than politics, because it really is. And I've seen it more and more on the ground as, the years of my reporting is I love the breaking news stuff. The breaking news stuff is very important. It always goes viral. But the cultural stuff is the stuff that people don't pay attention to. And literally my reporting in San Francisco at Pride, we have naked men bragging about being naked in front of kids, saying it's good for kids and that, they deserve to see it because it's the natural human body. And then you have the kiddie pool where you have men urinating in each other's mouths. And I talk to the cops and they literally say we're not enforcing it because it's a pick your battles day. That is culture that has been cultivated in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Communist cops.
We've been seeing this, in my previous life doing art. This was all happening in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And it was happening very thoroughly. I got into a disagreement with the women in the feminist theater collective that I was working in when we were trying to hire a composer. And we were saying, well, this is just a women's project. We're just all women working on this project. And the director said, well, women are women identified. And I was like, you want to get a fella in a dress to be our composer? Why? There's a ton of good women composers. We don't need to go get a man. And we had a huge disagreement over whether that should happen or not. And that was like 2015, 2016, something like that we were doing this.
Yeah, feminism isn't battling with itself over the issue of are men who say they're women actually part of the team.
And when I would bring this up to people who were not in the arts, they would say, "Oh, that's never going to happen. That's never going to break out." And it's like this stuff was beginning, and I was calling attention to it. And I was complaining about it in the arts to my friends way back when. And now it's at the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? Yes, culture is way more important than politics. It's been more important than politics this whole time. And the right just doesn't get on board with that.
It's a floodgate. I mean, the argument is Algeria and Taiwan don't have transgender categories. They don't allow people to change their passports. So these individuals were presumed to be female when they were born. And so we have to figure that out. And that's what they're saying. They're female. It's like, no, they're male. They just thought they were female. And that's fine. That's actually the left's argument, that some people can be assigned improperly. We later find out through genetics testing and hormone testing. So with this, we are literally going to have countries that do allow passport changing. And the
United States.
That's right. And the Olympics says that's the criteria. What does your passport say? Mm-hmm. So do you want to win the Olympics? You get a gold medal, it's worth $1,000. You know, why not?
Hey, at this rate, I might become an Olympic athlete, because if it's going to be this easy,
what sport are you going to take
might
up?
as well. I mean, boxing seems like a good one. Honestly, it seems like a pretty fairly easy one. Or weightlifting would be fantastic. You can. We all know men are stronger than women, so
just get your passport changed because it's easy in the United States, and then you're going to qualify very easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the state.
We're going to win all the gold medals for the USA, baby.
And the USA pays for gold medals.
Oh,
I mean, you might win.
I'm in.
You might win every match by forfeiture.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Doesn't matter. Qualifier's qualifier.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.